Today on Passion for Food, we'll be making these easy sushi burgers. We're going to use a fairly classic combination of flavors. The main difference is going to be the shape, and that's actually going to save us a whole bunch of time. So let's go ahead and get started. So first up is our rice, and we want to use about 1/4 of a cup of rice per sushi burger. So I've got 1/2 a cup here. That will make 2. And I'm going to go ahead and pre-season with about a teaspoon of salt. I know it's traditional to season the sushi rice at the end, but that doesn't appear to make any difference, so I'm going to go ahead and just do that now. And we're going to be using the classic 2-to-1 ratio, so I'm going to use a full cup of water. And I am simply using long grain white rice here, but if you want to use medium or short grain rice, that would be more traditional, but I find the long grain works just fine, especially in this particular application. So we just want to cook that like normal. For me, that means about 17 minutes. At which point we just want to finish seasoning this with about a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. You may notice I'm omitting the sugar that most sushi rice recipes contain. I don't really feel like that adds anything, so I don't add it. So we just want to give our rice a quick mix to get that incorporated, and then we're going to set this aside and let it cool while we prepare our fish. I'm going to be using some wild-caught salmon today, but you can use whatever fish or other fillings you might like. I'm just going to show you my go-to classic sushi burger combination. And we do want to season these thoroughly with salt and pepper on both sides. And optionally, but I definitely recommend you try this, is I like crusting both sides of this generously with sesame seeds. I really love the deep, nutty flavor that this is going to bring to our final sushi dish. So we just want to repeat that on the other side, and that's it for seasoning. And I do plan on cooking these, so off we go to a hot pan. And I've got about a tablespoon of butter in the pan. That's just going to help it brown evenly and really get a beautiful nutty flavor from those toasted sesame seeds. Now, you could totally leave these raw and just make this a sashimi burger. If only they could sashimi now. But if you do that, make sure you have a good quality fish that has been deep frozen. That deep freezing process actually helps to kill the parasites that are pretty common even in sushi grade fish. This is definitely one instance where fresh, never frozen is not a good thing. So just to make things easier on ourselves assembling these, we want to lay out a sheet of plastic wrap first. And right in the middle, we're going to lay 1 sheet of nori shiny side down. And here's a good tip for you guys. You definitely want to wet your fingers before you work with this rice. Otherwise, it's just going to stick to your hands like crazy. And all we want to do is scoop out about 1/4 of the total rice we have here. Just like that. And we just want to use our hands to kind of squish it down into a little round patty shape just like this. And if you're using long grain rice like I am, you want to apply slightly more pressure than you would with a traditional short or medium grain. That just helps it stick together nicely for us. And it's at this point that we're going to layer in our fillings. I like a little cream cheese on mine, but again, I'm just showing you the way I usually make mine. And in we go with one of our salmon fillets. I just try and get that broken up whichever way gets it to fit in there the easiest. And last but not least, I like to go in with some fresh sliced cucumber. That little bit of fresh crunch is really great in these. So now all we want to do is scoop out another 1/4 of our seasoned rice and do the same thing again. We're going to squish it into a little patty shape with our hands and simply slap it on top of this soon-to-be sushi burger. I like to give it a little press like that just to make sure all the ingredients are nicely seated together. And all we need to do to close this is just bring the 4 corners up together, just like you see me doing here. Now, sometimes you'll get little rips in the nori, but that's not a big deal. We'll be able to salvage any problems we have because of this plastic wrap on the bottom, which we're just going to wrap up around our sushi burger. We want to get this pretty tight. Don't leave any giant air pockets in there. And we do want to let these sit for at least 10 or 20 minutes. Right now that nori is going to be very hard and chewy, but if we let this sit for a minute, especially with the little bit of residual heat we probably still have in our fish, that will help really soften up the nori and just make it a lot more pleasant to eat later on. So after about 20 minutes in the fridge, I'm ready to pull this one out, and you can see a little condensation on the plastic. That definitely means our nori has softened up beautifully for us. We can see this one did have a small hole in the nori, but it doesn't matter. These things hold together really well for us and are super easy to eat with your hands. Now, normally I would never cut these because it's kind of part of the point just to hold it in your hand and eat it like that. But I definitely wanted to give you a peek at the inside of these, so let's go ahead and slice this one in half. And even cut like this, thanks to the way we formed that rice, you'll see it still actually holds together really well. Our layers are nice and distinct here, with that fish being very prominent, as it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and go in for a quick bite. I know some people frown on dipping sushi in soy sauce, but I like it. I really do love this particular combination of flavors. That freshness from the cucumber and that nuttiness from our toasted sesame seeds and the fish just all really work really well together. And that cream cheese brings a little extra moistness too. And of course you can put whatever combination of flavors you would like into these. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, please give me a thumbs up below and consider subscribing and hitting that little bell icon so you don't miss out on our future episodes. This has been Graham with Passion for Food.